There are those who say that every actor's dream is to play a role in the Marvel Universe, with all the projection and fame that this type of project can bring. Just think of big names like Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth, who rose to stardom thanks to comic book adaptations, or even Robert Downey Jr., who saw his career rebuilding thanks to Iron Man. However, many actors have already been through the different universes of Marvel, but were not completely satisfied and happy with the experience, due to personal issues or behind-the-scenes conflicts. With that in mind, here we selected 10 actors who made Marvel films and hated the experience. Subscribe to the channel and like the video for more content like this. Take the opportunity to suggest the theme for the next video below in the comments. Ben Affleck, Daredevil. Long before the Marvel Cinematic Universe was even conceived, the adaptation rights for various heroes were spread across different studios, and that's how 20th Century Fox produced Daredevil, the film that was supposed to introduce the man without fear to a new generation, but no one hated the project more than its protagonist. In an interview with Playboy, Ben Affleck said, "The only movie I actually regret is Daredevil. It just kills me. I love that story, that character, and the fact that it got screwed up the way it did stays with me. Maybe that's part of the motivation to do Batman." He later said that part of the reason he accepted the role of Batman in the DCU was precisely to correct that feeling. Jessica Alba, Fantastic Four and the Silver Surfer. Now, we're all eager to witness the reboot of the Fantastic Four that Marvel Studios is developing, but it's worth remembering that the team has already had 2 versions in the cinema, and in the first of them, Jessica Alba gave life to the Invisible Woman, but she didn't have an experience very pleasant during recordings. To begin with, she said she was frustrated by the way the character's characterization tried, at all costs, to erase her Latin features, so much so that she wears blue contact lenses in the films. However, the last straw was a series of comments made by director Tim Story during the recording of the second film in the franchise, which almost made her give up her acting career. Edward Norton, The Incredible Hulk. Although it is well forgotten by most fans, The Incredible Hulk is, in fact, the second film in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, so much so that it features a brief cameo by Tony Stark. However, its main star, Edward Norton, had disagreements behind the scenes, especially with the film's director, Louis Leterrier. Norton has spoken publicly several times about how he didn't enjoy filming the film and how he felt aggrieved by Marvel Studios, which replaced him in The Avengers with Mark Ruffalo. In recent interviews, the star said that he would never return to the role, even if Marvel paid him very well for it. Ryan Reynolds, X-Men Origins, Wolverine. Long before returning to the role for the praised Bullseye solo franchise, Ryan Reynolds briefly brought Deadpool to life in X-Men Origins, Wolverine. He, however, did not like the direction taken with the anti-hero, and was replaced by Scott Adkins in several of the action scenes. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Reynolds said, "If you watch the movie, you'll see it's partly me playing it, and then I said, I can't do this," he said. Then they have another actor playing it. So you see in the movie that it's me with my shirt off and my mouth sewn shut, and I look a little bit more like Dick Van Dyke next to the new guy, who is like 20 pounds more muscle than me and just this huge martial arts guy. Mickey Rourke, Iron Man 2. Although the Marvel Cinematic Universe has a good share of defenders, its detractors are also many, and some of them were already within the franchise. This is the case of Mickey Rourke, who gave life to the villain Whiplash in Iron Man 2. According to him, everything was very sad due to the film's cuts in the editing room. Rourke gave an interview to American presenter Seth Meyers and told a little about his experience. "I'm not a Marvel fan. Once I did a movie for Marvel and they cut the whole thing out. The film would have undergone extensive changes in post-production, mainly to give more space for the hooks of the next MCU projects." Anthony Hopkins, Thor. If you dig deeper, you'll see that many people involved in the Thor franchise in the MCU have publicly spoken badly about their experiences. But one of the names that stands out the most in all of this is Oscar winner Anthony Hopkins, who called his performance pointless when asked about what it was like to bring Odin, the All-Father, to life. In an interview with The New Yorker, Hopkins said, "They put me in armor, they shoved a beard on me. Sit on the throne, shout a bit. If you're sitting in front of a green screen, it's pointless acting it." It is worth remembering that, after the hero's first film, the star participated in the next 2 sequels, but did not return for Love and Thunder. Idris Elba, Thor. As said, Hopkins was not the only star of the Thor franchise to speak negatively about the experience. Who also hit on this key was Idris Elba, who gave life to Heimdall, the guardian of the Bifrost. Elba has appeared in all of the God of Thunder's films to date, and made a cameo in Infinity War, but his experience wasn't the best. In 2014, the star gave an interview to the Daily Telegraph, where he said, "I'm actually falling down from a spaceship, so they had to put me in harness in this green screen studio. And in between takes I was stuck there. Fake hair stuck onto my head with glue, this fucking helmet, while they reset. And I'm thinking, 24 hours ago, I was Mandela. Then there I was, in this stupid harness, with this wig and this sword and these contact lenses. It ripped my heart out." Hugo Weaving, Captain America, the First Avenger. However, it wasn't just the God of Thunder franchise that caused some discomfort among its stars. Captain America, the First Avenger, from 2011, had the glorious participation of Hugo Weaving as the Red Skull. And although many fans were impressed with the performance, the star himself said that he didn't intend to do any more films like that. To Collider, he said, "It's not something I would want to do again. I'm glad I did it. I did sign up for a number of pictures and I suppose, contractually, I would be obliged to, if they forced me to, but they wouldn't want to force someone to do it, if they didn't want to. I think I've done my dash with that sort of film. It was good to do it and try it out, but to be honest, it's not the sort of film I seek out and really am excited by." Said and done, so much so that, when the character returned in Avengers, Infinity War, as the Guardian of the Soul Stone, it was Ross Marquand, from The Walking Dead, who took on the role. Jennifer Lawrence, X-Men, First Class. Long before winning an Oscar and starring in the mega-popular Hunger Games franchise, Jennifer Lawrence ended up joining the Fox X-Men universe, playing Mystique in First Class. As much as she has always enjoyed the films, her biggest problem was the costly hours spent applying her makeup. In several interviews, Lawrence commented on how the process was very exhausting. After all, it took 8 hours for her entire body to be painted blue. As a result, Lawrence's subsequent appearances in films increasingly abandoned makeup, and the character began to appear, most of the time, with her human appearance. Patrick Stewart, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. After playing Professor Charles Xavier for more than 20 years in Fox's X-Men films, Patrick Stewart returned to the role of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. However, he said he was very frustrated with filming, as he recorded everything alone, in front of a green screen, and was unable to interact with other actors in the cast. During an appearance on the Happy Sad Confused podcast, Stewart said, "It was alone. I think the big scene, each one of the leading actors had the same experience. They were shot on their own. It was frustrating and disappointing, but that's how it has been. The last few years have been challenging." Subscribe to the channel and like the video for more content like this. Take the opportunity to suggest the theme for the next video below in the comments. See you in the next video.